mess in this attic. Lot going on, but there ain't no need to panic. Come on up and join, we getting wild, getting manic. Spitting truth for all you fanatics. Every week got something new to say. Ain't no filter, this shit coming straight from the brain.
It's coming straight from the brain.
Yeah, it's coming straight from the brain.
What's up, everybody? Today is Wednesday, April 27th, 2022, and this is a Talk in the Attic, which means, of course, per usual, I'm your host, Kirk Ross, and I've got a level with you right off the bat today. I've missed you guys. More specifically, I've missed the solo short episodes, which I haven't produced or created since December during the ill-fated 12 shows of Christmas fiasco. So basically, this is my first old-school, low-key, laid-back solo show in months. So what have I been up to, you ask? Well, first off, I resent the judgmental tone of your hypothetical question. And secondly, I've been working hard on this podcast. That's what I've been doing. Throughout the first 2 seasons of this production, you might have recognized the ebbs and flows of which kind of episodes I've been dropping and when. For a while, the cadence was consistent. Interview, then a solo show, then an interview, then a solo show. And then for a period of time, you saw just a lot of me for a while, right? And then for the entirety of season 3, I provided nothing but interviews and, of course, a 3-part overly dramatized animated film. So why is this format so loosey-goosey, you might ask, once again, judgmentally? Look, I know that we as humans crave routine. I also know that the best business model would be to settle into a reliable format and hammer that niche home, right? But here's the thing. I don't want to do it that way. And to understand why I don't want to do it that way, you'd have to first reconsider the context in which the genesis of this project was born. After a childhood filled with drawing and making movies with my friends and learning every lyric of every song I ever loved, my early adulthood was utterly devoid of creativity, at least in any meaningful sense. So as my professional responsibilities mounted, my life became a repetitive, day in, day out cycle filled with stress and frustration. And don't get me wrong, I did enjoy the successes of work as well. But what I ultimately learned about myself was that in order to feel like I am living up to my potential, at least as far as how I see my potential internally, then I have to be creating something with more intrinsic artistic value than, say, a project timeline or sales presentation could afford me. This realization became glaringly apparent after I had the chance to actually express my creative self on a regular basis. And that's where the podcast comes in. Because for the first time in my life, I was forcing myself into a disciplined, regimented creative schedule that required a maniacal level of productivity, which had become my calling card professionally, but that also flexed my imagination. And sweet, fancy Moses did it make all the difference. And that's where we're at today. My show is freeform because it has to be. Not only because it's what's necessary for me to produce at any sort of regular cadence, but also because I believe the show should reflect the spirit in which it was created. I had been in a rut. I bet each of you has been in one as well. Maybe you are now. And I broke out of that malaise by regularly scheduling rounds of chaos twice weekly. The free-flowing vibe but consistent nature of the show is proof positive that you can focus on something without turning it into yet another monotonous routine that we're all already knee-deep in as it is. This less than rigid framework for a Talk in the Attic has afforded me such a rich tapestry of experiences and forms of expression. It's a podcast that sharpened my writing abilities, that inspired me to learn the piano and drums. It's a podcast that urged me to learn music production at large. It's a podcast that resulted in figuring out graphic design and animation. It's exciting. And my thought is that the same excitement for all things creative that I'm feeling translates through the podcast and lands directly inside you. That's my hope, at least. Is it working, though? Do you feel excited each and every time an episode drops at the thought of what might be? And does that kind of unknown inspire creativity in your own life? I really genuinely hope that it does, because I'm super grateful for all of you that are listening and watching and supporting this project. This project, however small it is, has been an absolute godsend for me. My wife, Jessica, shook my brain loose in 2018 back when we hooked up, and that ultimately precipitated the podcast, and it saved me in a way. And I trust that by continuing to express myself through this platform, you'll all get to experience a piece of the joy, the sorrow, the chaos, and all the other emotions that we find in the human experience. So thanks for sticking with me. I'm happy to be back. Much love, y'all. Peace.
I'm just trying to save my soul. 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 I'm just trying to save my soul.